Hey, weavers of light. This is a new series called the Aquarian Gateway Teachings, and it is a body of wisdom that invites participation.
Welcome in, weavers of light, to the Aquarian Gateway Teachings, where every doorway is a possibility, every threshold is a remembrance, and every step brings us closer to the truth of who we are. The Aquarian Gateway is not teaching you what to think, it is teaching you how to embody remembrance. So let us enter today's gateway together. Have you ever had the feeling that you have never quite fitted in? Not because people rejected you, but because something inside you quietly whispered, "This isn't home." Perhaps you have spent years trying to understand why, trying to become more like everyone else, trying to silence the questions that never seemed to leave. Questions like, is this really all there is? Why do I feel different? Why do I long for something I can't even name? If these questions feel familiar, this conversation is for you. For many years, I believed that feeling like an outsider meant something was wrong with me. Perhaps I wasn't trying hard enough. Perhaps I was too sensitive, too reflective, too idealistic, even too different. But over time, I began to wonder if I had been asking the wrong question. Instead of asking, why don't I belong? What if the deeper question is, what is the feeling trying to teach me? Because not belonging and not fitting in are not always the same thing. Sometimes we don't fit comfortably into certain environments because we are growing beyond them. Sometimes our values begin to change. Sometimes our way of seeing the world shifts. And the old conversations, the old identities, the old expectations no longer feel like they fit. And that can feel lonely. But loneliness and transformation often walk together for a while. Nature offers us a beautiful reminder, though. A seed does not become a tree by becoming a better seed, right? There comes a moment when the shell that once protected it becomes too small. From the outside, it looks as though the seed is breaking apart, but from the inside, it is becoming what it was always capable of being. Perhaps our lives unfold in much the same way. Feeling like an outsider is not necessarily a sign that we are separate. Sometimes it is an invitation to discover a deeper relationship, not just with other people, but more so with ourselves. What if the longing you have carried is not a longing to escape this world, but a longing to live more authentically within it, to bring more kindness, more creativity, more honesty, more presence, more coherence? However, there is another possibility, and that is that I find deeply comforting. Perhaps the feeling of being an outsider is not asking us to find the perfect group. Perhaps it is gently loosening our attachment to borrowed identities, inviting us to discover a home that cannot be taken away, a home that exists within our own awareness. Because when we begin to cultivate that inner home, something beautiful happens. We stop trying so hard to become acceptable and we begin becoming available, available to life, available to wonder, available to relationship, available to love. We discover that belonging is not something the world gives us. Instead, it is something we learn to embody. And strangely enough, when we stop trying to fit perfectly into every space, we often become more capable of genuinely connecting with others and ourselves because we are no longer performing, we are simply present. So, if you have spent your life feeling like you never quite belonged, perhaps your sensitivity has been inviting you to notice things that others overlook. Perhaps your questions have been leading you toward a deeper way of living. Perhaps your longing has not been asking you to leave the world, but rather to meet it with greater presence. And perhaps the greatest remembrance of all is discovering that home is not merely a place. Home is a relationship with yourself, a relationship with life, a relationship with the mystery that quietly meets us every time we become still enough to listen. So thank you for walking through another gate with me. If this conversation resonated with you, I invite you to sit quietly for a few moments today, not to search for answers, but simply to notice what already feels like home within you. And so until next time, remain curious, remain gentle with yourself, and listen deeply. And remember, the journey is not from outsider to insider. It is from separation to relationship with yourself. And so until we meet again, may you walk gently, listen deeply, and remember that the light you seek has never been separate from the light that you are.